If you have ongoing exposure to controlling people, it's a virtual certainty that you're going to experience blurry boundaries, which is why I've created the extensive online course called This Is Me, Establishing Boundaries with the Controllers in Your Life. There's a link below that will give you all of the details, and I hope that you would find it therapeutic. Let's begin by recognizing that narcissists are constantly looking for ways to have an angle over you. One of the things that I've mentioned in multiple videos in the past is that one of the ways narcissists like to try to have an upper hand over you is they'll go into shutdown mode. There are times when narcissists can be very overbearing and loud and pushy and forceful, but then there are times when they think, okay, I'm going to use a different tactic on you this time, and they can just go into withdrawal as a means of punishing you. They can give you the silent treatment. They know that you want to engage with them, and so they'll deliberately be evasive and just not available at all. That's their shutdown mode, and it's all a part of their manipulation. Keeping in mind, narcissism is all about trying to maintain control. It's built upon a self-absorbed attitude of entitlement. These individuals must be superior. They don't receive input because they don't care about what you think, low empathy. And so the shutdown is their way of saying, if you disagree with me, if you go a different path, I'm going to punish you. And then also it's their way of saying, and I don't want to be held accountable either. I don't want you getting inside my head, or I don't want you knowing my business. Or it's their way of saying, I find you to be disgusting, and they hold you in contempt. Now, many times people in your position who are trying your best not to be narcissistic can say, well, you know what? Sometimes I want to go into shutdown mode too, and you do. And then the question comes, well, does that mean that I'm just being a narcissist when I do that? And I find that to be a good question to ask, because we always are wanting to make sure that a narcissist isn't feeding our own pathology and we respond just like they do. Sometimes, though, what you see on the surface isn't necessarily the same thing as what a narcissist intends when they show those kind of behaviors on the surface. It really comes down to your intent or your purpose in going into a shutdown kind of mode. There are times when healthy individuals can recognize, this openness is something that I embrace, but it's just not working with this person, and I need to preserve what's reasonable inside of me. There's a difference between the motive of selfishness and self-preservation. Now, many times when you go into your shutdown mode, you might decide that you're going to use the technique that we refer to as the gray rock method. There's hardly anything more dull or bland or boring than a gray rock, and so that's where we come up with that term. There are times when you recognize, I want to be open and I want to engage well with people, but this person in front of me simply doesn't have the maturity or the skill set to do that in a very successful way. I need to pull back as a matter of self-preservation. That's your intent. I'm not being punishing, but I'm just reading reality and responding for what it is. When you use the gray rock method, basically you're making a deliberate choice to disengage relationally. You're not trying to manipulate, you're not trying to punish, but you are realizing, I need to show some self-respect. And every time I put myself out there with that narcissistic person, it doesn't end well. I've got to take care of me. Or also when you engage with that gray rock method, it's your way of saying, I'm not going to enter into that narcissist power play. How many times have you tried to share your thoughts or explain yourself only to find that there's this inferior, superior game, this one up, one down kind of thing? It's a power play. Life with a narcissist is constantly competitive. And the person going into gray rock says, no, that doesn't work for me. My relationships aren't a competition. That's not what I'm about. And so you withdraw from the power play. Additionally, when you go into gray rock, it's your way of saying, I'm going to purposely suspend any expectation that this is going to be a mutually rewarding exchange. And I know that if you're a relational person, you don't want to have to say that or acknowledge that, but it's just true. There are just some people that don't really want to engage well with you. And then also the gray rock method implies that you choose to place yourself in as neutral of a position as you possibly can with that narcissistic person. Going gray rock means that you're drawing upon all sorts of memories of past attempts to create harmony, only to find that you were invalidated and treated with disdain. And it's your way of saying, okay, I'm catching on and I'm not going to place myself in that position again. So let's kind of run through what gray rock means then, ultimately. Gray rock means that you just give bland responses. And for example, if somebody says, well, why did you do something like that? The response can be something to the effect of, that's what made sense to me at the time. Okay, that's enough. I'm not going to elaborate like I might with somebody who's actually asking for information. Also, when you go gray rock, you just you enter into very brief verbal exchanges. You may be the kind of person that likes to talk about all sorts of things with people, but narcissists are data collectors. And the more you talk and the more you share your thoughts, they're just collecting data against you to use against you later on. Okay, I'm aware of that. I'm just going to keep my verbal exchanges as brief as possible. In addition, gray rock means you reveal the least amount that you have to about yourself. You don't go into self-disclosure. And again, it's not for punishing purposes. The intent is, I've just got to protect myself. This is not a safe individual. I get that. It also means when you go gray rock, you don't share opinions. That person may be over there pontificating about who knows what, their opinion about the state of the world or how Aunt Maud is supposed to do things. And the more you go into your counter opinions, it doesn't end well. I'm just not going to share with you my opinions. It's just going to fall on deaf ears anyway. It also means, gray rock also means that you don't really feel the need to correct that person's thinking or to share your better alternatives. Not that you're wrong, but that it's just going to be like banging your head against a brick wall. Now, it does mean when you go gray rock that you can still quietly go about your business and follow your priorities. You're just not going to run it through the narcissist or feel like you have to get their approval. You don't always ignore them, but at the same time, you're not going to make connecting with them a super high priority. When you're in a gray rock mode, you don't defend yourself strongly. You can explain yourself once, but then when you know that that person's just looking for holes in your logic, it's like, okay, once is enough. That's it. And basically, you just kind of pull back and you let it be known. This is not someone that I find that I can engage with in any kind of clean way. I get it. The narcissist must be dominant. The narcissist must have the final word. The narcissist must be the star of the show. I'm onto it. And if that's their gig, if that's their game, so be it. But I'm just not going to engage. Your decision to go gray rock can be guided by certain notions. And that is, this is you thinking, you don't have to say it out loud, but this is you thinking toward the narcissist, you know what? You can be whatever you want to be, because they're going to anyway. You can think whatever you want to think, because you know you're not going to change their opinions. You can criticize as often as you feel the need to criticize. You're really good at that, knowing that that's what they're going to do. You can whine. You can moan. You can groan. You can be uncooperative. You can be all of that. That's who you are. And it's not my illusion that I can somehow or another make that any different. But then also inside your mind, you can be thinking, I've decided that your boorish behavior is something that I can't change. So what I'm going to change is my internal and my external responses. Your opinions are not relevant to me. And I just don't feel the need to try to make those opinions any different. You are what you are. So when you go into that gray rock kind of mentality, you determine that you're quietly going to be your own person. And if that narcissist says, why are you acting this way? The response is, because it seems like a good idea to me. That's it. And then when they come back and complain, it's like, well, I just don't like the way you're treating me, or I just don't like the way you've been in the shutdown. Then the next response is going to be, I don't have anything further to add. That's gray rock. There are just some people that cannot engage well, and so if that's your reality, then we're going to allow that reality to stand. But then the rest of the reality is you're not required to enter into Crazyville with somebody that just doesn't know how to engage well. Practice self-care, even if it means that you have to just pull back and do what feels counterintuitive. With some individuals, the intent is not punishment, but with some individuals, your number one goal just to get away from them is to practice self-respect. I think that's a reasonable way to engage with people. Self-respect. I hope videos such as this give you some good food for thought. If you've not already done so, I would encourage you to hit that subscribe button. We'll keep more videos coming your way. And please know, I am so honored that you would allow me to be a part of your journey. And so that's why I do these videos. And I thank you so much for the kind responses that you give and the way you share with one another on our comment section. In addition, if there is a need that you have for counseling, if there's someone in your immediate area, I would encourage you to seek that counseling out, because sometimes you need some objective eyeballs on a situation to help you through something like this. If you would prefer online counseling, we have a link below that could take you to that. And that's become a very popular option these days. There's a whole team. This is a sponsor that we have. There's a whole team of licensed professional counselors that you could choose from that could help you with that. So I would encourage you to look into that link. In addition, we have our courses. My Free to Be course has been out for a while. We have a brand new course called This Is Me, and it's all about setting boundaries with the controllers in your life. I'm very excited about that. And also we have my books and other webinars that are coming down the road, plenty of resources. Okay, sometimes you just have to know that despite your desire to have openness and good sharing with other individuals, it's just not going to happen. You may have to go that gray rock possibility, but at the same time, I'm hoping that you really can examine your intent. This is not a matter of just being mean towards someone. It's just a matter of acknowledging this is somebody that's just not mature enough to engage. That being the case, I'm going to live in such a way that allows me to have steadiness so that I can stay in my place of peace.